Are you ready, Brian? It's time for the main event.
The main event? Glad that you're sick of indie wrestling stuff because this is a serious main event for the AEW World Championship. Texas Death Rules.
Oh, so now, remember we had the guy in the cowboy hat that was playing some, I don't know, goofy music for Kenny or whatever. But now on the stage, we have a guitarist and a whistling woman trying to replicate the best of Ennio Morricone live. And I don't know if any of it was good, but some of it was bad and a bit of it was ugly. And we see the video of Paige walking around a empty cattle farm of some description to indicate that he's a cowboy while this, again, the spaghetti Western classic music plays in the background. He's as much of a cowboy as I am an astronaut from NASA. I love orbiting the Earth. Ground control to Major Jim. Can you see Stan Hansen making an entrance to a guitar and a whistling woman?
Well, they had some intricate entrances in Japan, maybe not all Japan, but nothing like this, no.
No, and
Stan Hansen wasn't a cowboy from Virginia.
Well, no, and actually that's, again, a cowboy from Virginia is sort of like a low-fat Twinkie. But Sockface on the commentary was doing the voiceover that he had carefully written, describing the hangnail there, Adam Page, and basically he made him the only politically correct cowboy ever in wrestling. And who's the guy that's saying that that Page is just a star that would have been a star in any era in the 70s, the 80s, and the territories?
I saw that.
That tweet. He's goddamn what Magnum TA would have been. Who is this fucking clown?
Yeah, so it was some guy apparently who I saw in his bio. It says he's on SNY. I've never seen him, but apparently he does some wrestling podcasts here and there.
What is SNY?
The Mets Network.
Oh, good Lord.
But I don't know, but this guy, but that tweet went around everywhere.
The guy to Triple H Thoughts tweeted, yeah, sure. He'll go into business for himself on live TV. He's got butterfly jeans and a fucking fake cowboy that would certainly get over in any era. I didn't do that tweet justice, but I retweeted it because I didn't want to steal his material. But what kind of delusional fuckwit is this guy that who is it called? Page Hangman Page? It was more like Magnum LGBTA. In what era would Harley Race and Bruno Sammartino have main evented against Adam Page?
Well, I think the thing is that he's making a comment about someone he personally likes, but he doesn't know anything about wrestling before probably the 90s. So he's saying, this guy could have fit into anywhere in the 70s. What the fuck does this guy know? If you're saying that, you don't know anything.
The 16-year-old male fans would have kicked the shit out of Adam Page in the 70s. Especially take him to the Nashville Fairgrounds. Or anywhere in Louisiana for that matter. Anyway, so here comes the cowboy, and then Moxley and his goofs come out in the beat-up pickup truck. That Page should have driven out in a beat-up pickup truck. What? I don't know. They just... Ugh. So the match starts, and it's a Texas death match. And it's for the AEW title, and it's Dick the Boozer versus Hangnail Page. And they start the contest somewhere around 5 hours and 15 or 20 minutes, I believe, into this thing, plus the pre-show. And they started off by trading forearms. And it's like it's a rib. It's like it's a rib. And then Page is on him. They go in the corner. He fights like a pissed off teenage girl with him. The fans were booing anything that Moxley did because they didn't want to see him. And they definitely don't want to see him win this thing. But then they each got a fork, and Again, Moxley actually had Page stab him in the head with the fork about 20 times and puncture his head so he would start bleeding. Now, he augmented it later on with a blade because the fork didn't do that. But no, that was real. Because this guy, somebody needs to do a mental evaluation. He has one of these self-harm fetishes, or he thinks he's some goddamn famous psychopath serial killer. He fantasizes about that Nick Gage garbage. And he's been to, we know why he flunked out of the WWE because of the mindset that he has, but he's been there. He didn't learn anything. Two guys he was with left him in the fucking dust. But now he's here where, with a bunch of marks to support him in the locker room and tell him how great he is, and a fucking feckless boss who will let him do any kind of distasteful, low-class bullshit. This is what you get. And said before in the show, in the old days, the guys would do the hard way, get a black eye to make the fucking people believe the business. Now, everything about both of these guys has told everybody this is all completely fake. It's all prearranged. We're cooperating with each other, but we're really going to slice each other up. So at the same time as they're calling attention to how fake wrestling is, they're really hurting each other and making each other look like goddamn subhuman sideshow fucking freak dwellers that like to inflict punishment on each other before they bite the head off the fucking live chicken. In this day and age, I didn't think it was possible to make wrestlers and wrestling look stupider, sillier, trashier, more low class, vulgar, disgusting, and not for major league sponsorship. But they do it. So then, and Page got his juice the normal way, at least from his head. Later on, he'd be rolling around in broken glass, but at least even he's smarter than the freak show fellow, and he's an empty-headed dipshit. Moxley got a barbed wire chair, but he didn't hit Page with it. He put it down on the ground, picked Page up, and slammed him on it. And do you think he did crack with Nick Gage to train for this and come up with the ideas for it, or?
No, I think these were his sober thoughts.
So Moxley then left the ring and his opponent so that he and Marina Shafir could set up a table and then milk that he would throw Page off the top through it, but they didn't because that trick comes later. And then Moxley asked Shafir for a bucket of broken glass. And I wrote, I never thought I'd see people that made the Sheik and Abdullah look like athletes with good taste. And by the way, may I remind everybody, when the Sheik and Abdullah did this shit, it lasted 5 to 7 minutes. And you never saw anything like it before, and you didn't see anything for a long time afterwards like it. And then Moxley drug Page through the broken glass, and now the ring was trashed, and they couldn't work it. Well, they did work in it anyway, because they take bumps in broken glass. There was a pile driver on the glass. Page then clearly helped climb up the turnbuckles so that Moxley could try to powerbomb him through chairs, but Page blocked it. Moxley raked some barbed wire over Page's back, and then Moxley turned his back and waited for Page to set the chairs up so that he could powerbomb Moxley onto him. And then Wheeler Useless came in and just nailed Page with a chair, but Page didn't sell it and knocked Wheeler out. And then Marina Shafir interfered. So Page gave her a Death Valley driver off the apron through the table. Did you see that particular movement, Brian?
Well, of course I did. That was a big part of the match.
Did you see what Page did to take care of himself and not her?
What did he do?
The Death Valley driver, he turns her, he jumps off the apron. He landed on the table and broke it and got his fall cushion, but he put her just past the table. So her momentum was still going, and she took the move right on the floor. Fucking idiot. And again, these are women. You stupid fucks. In storyline, it's ridiculous, and it's not fucking proper in real life. Anyway, so then they took some more bumps in the glass until Claudio got in and beat up Paige, and then Wheeler beat up Paige. Jim Ross's line there was, I know it's no DQ, but use some logic. Then they pulled out another table, but Ospreay came out and beat up Claudio and Wheeler, but Gabe Kidd stopped Ospreay and gave him a pile driver on the floor, and then they got a chair and they put the chair around his neck and Pillmanized Ospreay's neck on the floor with the chair. And I'm like, so what the fuck? They've crippled their top babyface now. They just carried Samoa Joe out the same way, and then all came to a halt. There's a bunch of these morons wandering around the ring, just standing there staring. These two idiots in the match are bleeding all over themselves, just laying around. The doctors have to come over and attend to Ospreay and get the stretcher. And then Moxley and Page start their match again. They do a suplex off the apron through two tables covered in barbed wire. While on the other side of the ring, Ospreay's getting taped to the backboard and wheeled off in a goddamn ambulance, or not the wheeled off on the stretcher. But then there's nothing happening again. And now Ospreay is taken out. The other heels are all standing around on the floor. Moxley and Page get back in the ring and they trade forearms. And then Moxley gets a Gotch pile driver on him and a choke on him, and then let it go and jumped up so that the referee could do a 10 count. And of course, at 9, Page jumped up to his feet. So then Moxley gave him a double arm DDT finish on the barbed wire chair. And the referee got to 9.5. Now they've gone so long, Page's gig had already dried up. So then Moxley asked for a plastic bag, and Useless got in and handed it to him, and everybody just wandered around. And as he's got the plastic bag, suddenly, Brian, have I exaggerated anything so far? Just so the people know it's not just me.
No, not yet. No.
Well, on the screen, it was Darby Allin from the mountaintop. On the Canaanites. A video he took on Mount Everest. Say, I'm coming to get you. And then, while they're looking at the Darby on the screen, looked like he was near death on his fucking mountain. This stupid moron climbed on a billionaire's goddamn paycheck. Bryan Danielson jumps in the ring with a mask on and fucking gives the big knee to Wheeler and pulls the mask off and does the yes, yes, yes. And then Danielson kicked the shit out of the heel Stooges all over ringside. But while everybody was watching that, they started lowering Darby from the ceiling. And they got a shot of it and the announcers called it. But this was before the fans were seeing it because they're still watching Danielson chase these other son of a bitches out of there. And then Darby is down on the ground now, and Moxley stares at him, and Page hit Moxley with the buckshot. And Darby gave a coffin drop off the top rope to all the heels on the floor, and they all fought off. And you'll think, well, here's the perfect time for the finish. Page hits another buckshot. And then he gives him a dead eye off the apron through a table to the floor. Got to be the finish. Referee counts. Adam Page back in at 3. At 9, Schaefer goes around, hooks Moxley, picks him up. He stood up when she put her hands on him. And she yelled, "Fuck you" at Page. It goes on. Because now the Hardley boys are in the ring. And they double super kick and double shitty knee lift Adam Page. And that leaves him a sitting duck for when Moxley and Schaefer pull out the bed of nails. And Dave, if you defend this bullshit like you always do with, well, I don't like it, but it works for this audience, fuck you, pal. You're as bad as a maggot trying to defend Trump. You just won't admit the fucking truth. Your boys have shit the bed. This has gone too far. This is a complete train wreck of a presentation. I don't care if they sell 100,000 tickets a day. This is a bad show that gets worse. Deal with it. So then Paige crawled over to the bed of nails and got in position and stood or kneeled stock still so that Moxley could curb stomp him on the bed of nails, then hit him with another double arm DDT on the bed of nails, and Paige got up at 9.5. Then Moxley said fuck a lot and told Schaefer to get the briefcase, and she went over to the ringside table and got it, but when she turned around, she realized that she was handcuffed to the railing, and from behind the table and barricade, Prince Nana stood up and revealed that he had handcuffed her. And she couldn't get loose. And that's when Swerve came down and leveled the buckaroos with a logging chain and tossed the chain into Paige. So the Paige, he hit him with the chain. He looked like he was trying to put it around his neck and do the finish, but I think Moxley said, no, you got to hit me with a buckshot first so I can bump on a bed of nails. So they fought around for a minute that, and finally buckshot, he takes a bump on a bed of nails. And then he wrapped the chain around Moxley's neck and threw him over the top rope and hung him, and Moxley tapped out. And the fans were overjoyed that they were rid of Dick the Boozer, who was the only one on the roster who can make it look preferable that Adam Page would be the world champion. And then Page struggled to get the briefcase open and finally started crying. We were all crying at this point. And pulled the belt out, and there it was.
Yeah, big pop from the fans, and I think that's what it was. They were hoping that's it. No more of this Moxley Death Riders shit.
I mean, what? Not even the fact that it's a bad fake show, and it's stupid, and it's silly, and it's preposterous, the levels and the overdone stunts that they go through. Why can't they realize they're just shooting themselves in the foot? Because they just have to do more and more. And I'm pretty sure they can't do more and more. They may think they can. They'll find out. But if people are just watching this to see goddamn injury and chaos. You want worked chaos without injury. You don't want endless chaos with people fucking themselves up. And this is what these marks have done to this company, this presentation, and themselves. 7 hours. Endless. Over and over. I've made my point.
Well, a major success for AEW, all in Texas. A big walk-up, 30,000, give or take, in the building.
Well, no, the walk-up wasn't 30,000.
No, not a 30,000.
The whole crowd. Yeah.
That's right. But a lot of moments to make the fans feel happy, like maybe the company's listening to us. We'll see where they go from here, maybe.
I wish they'd make me happy to thinking they were listening to me once in a while.
Moxley has worked so hard over the last year, I really think he deserves a long vacation. As do
you got a point there.
Yeah, they've been on every show. They deserve an extended timeout in Bulgaria. They deserve a long time out, but that was AEW.
I think maybe he needs some good, long, inpatient psychiatric counseling.
Well, we'll see if he gets it, but that was AEW all in Texas. And Jim, as we said at the top of the show, not a normal drive-through. No questions this week, no classic wrestling. No songs. We're going to wrap it up rather quickly. Any closing thoughts on any of all this?
Well, yes, my closing thoughts are I hate to beat a dead horse, but this is it's not good for the business. Not only the amateur hour that AEW produces, but the WWE making 3-hour programs out of a guy eating cereal for the breakfast in the morning. At some point, people are going to say, well, fuck, I just don't want to see any more of this shit at all. That's what I'm afraid of.